Right, welcome back to the channel. Following on with the Z650 build. For those who aren't familiar, I'm doing a full restoration on a 1977 Z650 B1. So link in the description below to the actual playlist from when it first started. So where we got to in the last episode is the engine is in, which I'm really pleased. It was painful, but really pleased it's in. Still got a mountain of parts, obviously everything we took off that's now back on the bench. There's some extra parts up here as well. I've been going through some of the screws and nuts and bolts. As I said in the previous episode, I was going to get the bolts that I have for the engine brackets cleaned up, which I've done. I'm actually missing two, which are on the far side, the actual sprocket side, so I had to use two other bolts for now, but I will get the correct two ordered. But all the bolts have been cleaned, polished up. Well, not too highly polished, but they've come out okay. The frame, well, the engine and frame are still sitting on the stand as you left it, so I'll show you that in a second. I've also moved some parts, extra parts up to the bench, which I'll show you now. So everything's the same up in this far corner. I've actually pulled out another rim, see if that one's any better because the other one's quite pitted. I've also pulled out a load of bolts. The nut and the bolt I need for the ignition advancer unit, they've arrived. The only problem I'm finding is obviously that seems to be welded on, and it looks as though there should be two raised areas which you can see that nut fits into. They seem to have been taken off, so I might be in a bit of a dilemma with this ignition advancer. I may not be able to use it. If anyone's got one of these knocking around that they don't need, please contact me because I will need another one. I do have another one which I used at one stage, but it is slightly different. So as I say, I'm going to try and get that off and see if the actual prongs are still inside. Pulled out some of the screws and one of the exhaust studs because I'm missing one, or sender unit. I've also pulled out of the box the starter motor, which I'll cover in the next episode. Also, ages ago I bought a box of bits and it had these shocks in it. Now, these are adjustables, so I've given them a quick clean. They still need a bit more because obviously that one's needs more work. That one needs completely stripping, so I may use these for now. And also I've managed to go through a load of old bolts. But moving on, all I've done, literally, I say these bolts have been cleaned. So those two are the correct ones. I've cleaned up these two, they're correct. I need to sort out this main one here. The nut on this end, and the one under there, and the one on the other side, they've all been cleaned up. So it is that bracket, it's just the two nuts that are in holding that in place they're incorrect. Carb rubbers, I will need to actually order these screws. I've just used 4 of the old ones that had a semi-decent head on them because I want to try and mock fit the carbs up today. I'm not going to put the airbox in, I just want to put the carbs in, see how that goes. Probably also look at, before the next episode, is get this back on the ABBA stand, but I need to get the swing arm in place, because I can then use the actual swing arm pivot bolt to mount onto the ABBA stand. So primarily today it will be get the swing arm back in, mount up these shocks. If they're the correct size, they are the correct length, but it's just the actual holes I'm worried about, and then get the carbs mocked up. The other thing I've dug out is the wiring loom, or what's left of the wiring loom. As I did say in a previous, it was converted to an electronic ignition, as you can see by the wires, very, very badly. So I need to, well, as you can see by the rec, that is terrible, but that's what I'm dealing with. But there is another one in there as well, so I'm unsure which one is the correct one. But I will go back through. So that's another plate. That is obviously correct for the bike because, well, it's painted blue for a start. So that will need to be stripped and then repainted. As I say, not looking brilliant for the electrics. Electrics isn't my strong point in the first place, yet alone dealing with something that's 40 years old and has been hacked. The option I do have, I have seen, obviously there are second-hand ones out there, expensive. I have seen a brand new one out there, very expensive, but that might be the perfect way to go. But I'll get that cleared out of the way, get the camera set up, and then we'll get the swing arm and the shocks in, and then we'll concentrate on the carbs. Carbs is just purely a mock-up, just to see how everything fits. Obviously the airbox, I need to sort that out with the brackets. Right, so let's get this swing arm back in place. Through a lot easier. I'm not going to worry about the actual nuts on the top. Yeah, these were the two. They aren't the correct ones, so I'm going to have to order the correct ones in. These could do with a real clean up, but they'll do the job for now, until I've got the other ones refurbed. Right, so next job is put these carbs in place. As I say, it's only going to be a mock-up loose fit, because I need to try and work out how this exactly goes together. Obviously the airbox needs to be completely cleaned out. I need to look at the rubbers for that. As I say, you remember, obviously these are refurbed, stripped down, cleaned, polished some time ago. A bit dusty, but I'll give them a clean off. But let's get these installed, or fitted in as best we can. So after, well, that was quite fun to get those in. Shame they got to come out again actually, but I just wanted to get them in place. So I can see how everything fits together. Whether I'd actually put everything together correctly. Which is all coming out okay. Right, I've just quickly thrown on the points cover, clutch cover. They're two of the covers that need a lot of work. The actual clutch cover I haven't even touched. Points cover I've actually started, but it's going to need to go down further. Let's say that one is done. That just needs the bolt to go through to hold that in place. It's just to give me an idea and see how things are going to go together. As I say, pivot bolt, that's still got to be stripped and cleaned. The actual grommets, I'm actually using the old ones for now when I had the side panels on, but they will be replaced. But as I say, a lot still to go through. But it's just nice to actually see things starting to come together. See how things fit. As I say, I mean, everything was all in bits, as you remember from, well, those who have followed from the start, from the very first episode. Everything was in bits, the engine was in bits, it was just, and the carbs were just slotted in. Nothing was actually attached properly. So it's just trying to make sense of everything, where it goes. As I say, slowly but surely it's coming. It was quite tight trying to get carbs into the rubbers. So that's going to be fun when they go in properly, because obviously the airbox will be in place as well. As I say, that's just still loose. I've still got the cam plug ends to go in. Clean up the gasket surface, and then obviously all the screws can go in. There's still a little bit more polishing to do on the ends. That one seems to come out alright. That one's a bit dull, so that one could do again. Again, even with the carbs, they've been sitting. I'm probably going to have to give them another clean. Right, so thanks for joining me on that one. So just a quick one today. I just wanted to mock up in a few bits, get the shocks back here, get these shocks in. Sorry, I've still got that to refurbish. That was the one I've already partially done. I've got the bell housing to do. Whether I stay with these or whether I go to the adjustables, these are more in keeping with how it was originally, but obviously these were chrome. But as I say, these springs were in quite bad condition, so it was easier to actually do them black, so I'll do them anyway. Let's see what happens and see which ones look the better out of the two. But it was actually nice to get the carbs in there. It was tight. As you can see, the clutch cover and the points cover, I've still got a lot of work to do on that. But as I say, going back to the ignition advance, either leave me a comment in the comments box below, or contact me on Facebook, or send me a private email if you have one. I'm actually going to try and get this end off and hope that the actual prongs are still inside. But as I say, it's going to be an interesting one, but if not, I will need to get another one, and they don't sell these anymore. I haven't seen any on eBay. But we'll see how that goes. But as I say, comments in the comments box below. I appreciate all your feedback, all your comments. So as I say, do comment or anything you've seen, anything you want to ask me really, or if you know of where I can get a cheap ignition advancing unit. As I say, because obviously I've managed to get hold of the nut with the slot through it and the replacement bolt. that could cause me some real issues. But as I say, next episode I'm going to get the bike back onto the ABBA stand, because I can raise it up a lot higher. It's a lot easier to work on, it's a lot easier to video rather than down on the ground. And we're going to start stripping apart the starter motor and see, hopefully there's no gremlins in there or what we find, and give it a clean out. So, as usual, thanks for watching and join me again next time. Cheers, bye.